Hi, Brad Schmidt here with Jeff Mapes. We're here for another Take 3 for Politics. We're going to be talking about the marijuana industry today. Jeff, there are some new bills going through the legislature that are going to shape the regulatory impact for marijuana. What can you tell us?
Yeah, we really have, I think, a better sense now of what a legal marijuana market is going to look like in Oregon. It's interesting, the kinds of policy decisions that legislators have been making. They're really trying as much as possible to have kind of a homegrown industry. They're going to put a lot of limits on the size of growers. Part of that, once again, is to sort of keep a homegrown nature to it, and part of it is to really prevent diversions to the black market, because we've got a lot of marijuana going to the black market here. Another thing that I think people might find surprising as Oregonian is it looks like we're going to have a sales tax on marijuana. That Measure 91 had a harvest tax, but it looks like it's going to be a sales tax, perhaps as much as 20%. Another big issue is how much local control, because, you know, a lot of these cities and counties have been trying to stop medical marijuana dispensaries. They don't want retailers in their communities. And essentially they gave communities and areas that voted strongly against it more power to keep marijuana retail establishments out. So a lot of Eastern Oregon could end up, you know, sort of being off limits. Another interesting thing that they did was they also planned to reduce the penalties for a lot of other marijuana crimes with the intent of sort of, once again, kind of trying to get away from criminalizing the drug and putting people in jail and that sort of thing.
Measure 91 is what got this approved. Is this exactly what voters thought they were getting into?
You know, that's an interesting thing. You know, Measure 91, as I mentioned, had a harvest tax that consumers didn't really see. Sales tax might have been more unpopular. You know, one other thing that was sort of interesting in Measure 91 is that it gave the Oregon Liquor Control Commission, which is going to regulate this market, the ability to essentially ban advertising, you know, because people say, well, we don't want to, you know, marijuana advertised like beer is on TV. And they took that language out. You know, essentially they were advised that that's unconstitutional, and instead they put in language saying, well, the OLCC can regulate it so that there's not advertising aimed at kids or, you know, encouraging excessive consumption, whatever that means. But it does mean that, you know, you could see a lot of advertising at some point.
And so where do we go from here?
Well, you know, there's one big thing that's really unsettled at this point, and that's when do retail sales start? You know, on July 1st, possession becomes legal, but we don't quite know when retail sales are going to be. The OLCC says they don't plan to have their licensed retailers out and operating before the second half of 2016, and several legislators on this committee are trying to have what they call sort of an early sales program, where they would go into existing medical marijuana dispensaries and allow them to sell some limited products to recreational users. If they make that work, and that's still a bill to come, that would probably be, you know, around the start of October or something like that. And then I guess the only other last thing I would say is this has all just been approved by this Special Marijuana Committee. It was unanimous, both Democrats and Republicans, but now we have to see, does the rest of the legislature buy into it? I think there's probably a good chance they will, but we'll have to wait and see on that.
Well, I won't make any jokes here about anything, but stay tuned for another Take 3 for Politics coming to Oregon Live soon. Thanks.